Mr. Brian Ortega, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Just relaxing a little bit.
I understand that. Thank you so much for taking out the time. You are currently 14 1-1 in your mixed martial arts journey, and you are currently ranked number 2 at featherweight in the UFC. What's this I see about Halle Berry seeking you out to help her prepare for her upcoming movie role as an MMA fighter?
It's a fun project. I get to work with obviously, if you're into movies and the world, that industry, you understand who Halle Berry is, and you know how great of an actress she is. So it's going to be an honor to work with someone like that, teach her some cool jiu-jitsu moves, and and get her looking badass in the next movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's obviously one of Hollywood's greats. What was the conversation like that led up to her asking you to help her?
I feel like we both, to be honest, both of us saw each other at the fights. Just kind of said what's up to each other, talked with each other for a little bit, and that was it. And then made it through social media. We talked about, obviously I went and saw more stuff about her that she's done, and kind of just try to study her a little bit more. And she did the same actually, which I didn't know. And she went and looked me up and studied me as well. And she reached out and said, "Hey, I'm getting ready for this fight." And it was, we're both from LA. She said it'd be an honor to go and just train and get her ready for the movie. And I told her, of course.
That's pretty cool. Of course, she's wildly attractive as well. Is there anything more than just training, or is this strictly a professional move here?
I think it's going to be just training,
Right.
I know the health thing was like everyone was saying, like that man crush Monday thing, but yeah, if she thinks something about me, that's like I told her, man, I'm honored and humbled, but I'm there to make you look badass for the movie. Those are not my intentions.
Yeah, fair. I had to ask, of course, naturally. Now, so you took the UFC by storm. You debuted in July of 2014. I was fortunate enough to learn about you early on when I was getting my blue belt under Frank Cucci here in Virginia Beach. You and Henner
hell yeah.
You and Henner Gracie would come out and teach and host seminars, so I was lucky enough to be paying attention early on. But
Uncle Frank Gucci.
Yes, sir, Uncle Frank. So coming into the UFC, what were your expectations on how far you wanted to go with the sport?
I wanted to become a champ, and I want to become a champ. That's why. That's why my drive was strong. I always saw myself as a champ, and it was just a matter of time for me to prove myself. And I did every step you can take to show the world who I was, why I belonged here, and I don't know, man. I feel like I took the right steps and the right risk in everything I did in my career to show the world.
Yeah, you showed up and you started catching bodies left and right. You finished everybody: Moicano, Cub Swanson, Frankie Edgar. The list goes on. And of course, you have the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu background, so submissions are expected. But you're also knocking fools out, like Clay Guida, Frankie Edgar. Those guys got knocked out. What is it about your style that enables you to find the finish?
I always say that in fights there's these golden, there's these golden little windows of opportunity, and that's where us as fans, when we're watching it, we jump up and we say finish him, because we see these fights from the outside, and it's hard to see these opportunities from the inside. And I feel like I've been able to just to see these windows on a different level on the inside. I've been able to watch them in their eyes and watch monitor their movement, their pattern behavior, and study it, and then find when I have them injured, I just go after them off the start.
Okay, now
and that's kind of,
you had your first UFC title fight this past December, taking on the champ Max Holloway at UFC 231. You put on quite a gutsy performance. You showed tons of heart. You never stopped throwing. You never quit. But the doctor made the call to stop the fight between the 4th and 5th round. Most people will never understand what it feels like to go through a scenario like that. So for you, what was your biggest takeaway from the entire experience?
You go back, I go back and I look at this, and I tell myself, one, I'm proud of myself, no matter what the way I was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Two, is damn boy, okay, we know. I thought I had a chin before, but now it's like, okay, now you really got a chin.
Yep.
And I mean, and the last thing really, it's honestly, it's like my fighting spirit, man. My fighting spirit is strong in there. I refuse to quit no matter what's going on. I'm in there, my spirit's strong when I'm fighting. And I mean, man, that's why we locked the deal with Modelo, because they resemble the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, your toughness will never be questioned, ever. Where do you get it from, you think? Where does the toughness of Brian Ortega come from?
Everything I've been through in life. It's hard to shut me down when I've been through so much. A lot of people, I don't think will ever fully understand, but when you count it down your whole life, you have to fight out of every situation, no matter where you're at, whether it's fighting out of poverty, fighting out of fighting just to survive in school, fight. No matter what, man, I'm always on the dope, and I never refuse. And I know we can all relate because life is for anyone is always hard. So, I don't know, man. It's something that's in me, It was in me. It was called me as a little kid. My dad taught me how to just work it better and not let it self-destruct me. And I mean, and that's it, man. I refuse to quit. I refuse to give up. I feel like my dad calls me. My dad has these symbols for his kids, right? And out of my siblings, he says I'm the lion. And he says the reason why you're the lion is because the lion is, no matter what, whether he's casted out the crew, whether he's on his own, or whatever, the lion will never stop fighting until his last breath. Because that's who you are. And he gave me that animal a long time ago.
I respect it. I definitely respect it. So Max Holloway is about to fight Dustin Poirier at UFC 236. It's going to be a rematch. Who do you think takes it?
I'm not too sure, man. I know they fought before. I know Dustin got the better of him when they were young, but I think both evolved into amazing fighters. Max is not the same Max, and Dustin is not the same Dustin. There's key points that both of them have. Obviously, Max has the conditioning, the cardio. He's able to throw punches and punches, but then also Dustin has, he has other hidden weapons that he doesn't use, and he's got great striking as well. This one, I feel like these are the fights that I love to watch because there's fights where you don't know who to root with or who to go with because they're both so good that they can finish each other. Those are the fights that you want to see because you get fights. That's how you get fight of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's next for you? How soon did you want to get back in there? Are you all healed up from your injuries? And is there anyone you would like to face once you come back?
Yeah, I got 6 more weeks till I'm at 100%. I feel like I'm at 75 right now. But in 6 more weeks, I'll be at the 400 ready to go, ready for action. And who knows, man? That obviously there's always all kinds of choices. But right off the top of the bat, I'm like you said, man. You said earlier in this interview, I thought I'm the number one, not Aldo. So let's fight.
Okay. Now, how'd you link up with Modelo? They're the ones that made this interview possible. I know they signed you on to be one of their representatives. How did that relationship come to be?
we met. Modelo carries their right, but what they stand for, and what they stand for is the fighting spirit, and that is something that the entire world cannot relate to me. They know that my fighting spirit is one of the strongest, and not the strongest of the UFC when it comes to not quitting.
I dig it.
And before this fight ever took place, we met before I forgot the number of UFC, but it was the one where Conor and Khabib fought.
Mm-hmm.
And we met there, and had one of my agents really talk to them for a while. But we finally met in person, and they actually forget like business side, right? We were just talking about life and what's going on with your life and how you get to be. There's so many fighters in the roster for them to know everyone's story, and I felt like I was talking to them, and they got to know my story, and they said, "Boom, they go, you're the guy for 2019."
I dig it. I mean, you definitely embody the fighting spirit. That's for sure. Well, for the couple people who aren't already following you on social media, how can people follow you along their journey and kind of come with you and see where you're going, what you're doing, and all that?
I mean, go to Instagram, just go @BrianTCity all together, and just, follow me, support me. I appreciate every single one of you fans out there, because you guys are what makes us.
Well, one more question before I let you go. For parents who want to get their child involved in martial arts, what would you say is the best martial art to start with?
Ooh, we're going to hurt a lot of people. No, I honestly feel, and this is not because I'm biased, I would always go with jiu-jitsu. And not because that was the art that I love. It's just simple fact that if a kid gets in fights, the majority, if not 99% of all martial arts teach you how to strike. That means your kid is going to have to hit another kid along the way of defending himself, which therefore will get in trouble. Because at the end of the day, you can, no matter how you paint that story, your kid hit someone, whether he was in the right or in the wrong.
Yeah.
And then those stories just suck. And you know as a parent that your kid did the right thing, and you're proud of him or her for defending themselves. But, that school has this different type of thing of, there's no fight policy. Yeah. With jiu-jitsu, they don't have to fight. Child never has to throw one punch. The fight is simple as talking to the boys, telling them don't get stuck, just leave them alone. And if the fight continues, or the bullying continues, then it's very simple. It's as simple as taking them down, holding them down, and just pretty much getting them to verbally or physically surrender. Right? You tell them, "Hey, listen, are you going to stop bullying?" And this is something I teach myself. Is where we tell kids, "Okay, listen, we use jiu-jitsu as a negotiation tool."
Yeah.
So when the teachers and staff come to break up the so-called fight, really it's just a kid holding another kid down and telling them, "Please don't bully." They never punched the kid. They never physically harmed them besides just a simple hold down. So that's why I was leaning to jiu-jitsu for defense, self-defense for any kid.
I dig it. It is the gentle art, as they say. Well, Mr. Brian T. City Ortega, thank you so much for taking out the time. You're an excellent ambassador for both MMA and jiu-jitsu alike. I cannot wait to see you back out there.
Thank you, boss.